Welcome to this tutorial for the unique puzzle game called Pivot Point. Click on the Start button to bring up the level select screen. You'll notice that there are 4 different types of levels in Pivot Point. The first type are the training levels. These are the best place to start as they will help you develop your skills. The padlock levels are automatically unlocked when you successfully complete the previous level. The second type of levels are the pressure levels. In these levels, there is a countdown clock which starts at 10 seconds. Your objective is to collect all of the crystals before the clock reaches 0. Extra time will be added to the clock each time you collect a crystal. The third type of levels are the target-based levels. In these levels, the player is constantly rotating around a targeted pivot point. You can only move the pivot point to other target points. You need to navigate the targets in the correct order to get all the crystals and complete the level. The fourth type of levels contain obstacles which make it difficult to navigate the player to the crystals. These levels will really test your precision and skill. Let's start with the basics. At the bottom of the screen here are the level objectives. These are automatically hidden during play after 5 seconds. For this level, you will need to collect all of the crystals within 10 seconds to get 3 stars, 15 seconds for 2 stars, or 20 seconds for 1 star. Any longer than 20 seconds and you will have to try again to get a passing score. This smiling face here is your player character. His name is Bob. At the top of the screen you will see the total number of crystals that Bob needs to collect. In the middle here is the level timer, and to the right is the menu button. Use the menu button to pause, view the level objectives, or restart the level at any time. Now that you are familiar with the game UI, let me show you how to play. The first thing you need to do is create a pivot point. You do this by clicking somewhere in the level. Bob's movement is restricted to rotating around the pivot point you specified. The highlighted edge of the sphere that appears when you create the pivot point, shown here, is there to help you visualize the path Bob can take. Click again to move the pivot point at any time to alter Bob's path. What you want to do then is place the pivot point in a spot which will result in Bob being able to collect the most number of crystals in a single move. Here's a hint. You can always get a crystal in Bob's path by placing the pivot point halfway between Bob and that crystal. Let's use this purple crystal as an example. You notice when I place my pivot point halfway between Bob and the crystal that the highlighted path goes right through that crystal. In this case, there are also 4 other crystals that are in the path, meaning that Bob can collect 5 crystals in one go. Swipe Bob left or right to start him moving. The faster you swipe, the faster he will go. Now that he has stopped, I'll move the pivot point to collect the remaining crystals. As you can see, although Bob has collected all of the crystals, I took too long to do it, so I failed the level. Let me click retry and do it in a timely manner. Now that I've passed this level, I'm free to try the next level by clicking the play button. Let's take a look at the pressure levels. The first thing you will notice is that there is a timer counting down to 0. If this timer runs out before you can collect all of the crystals, then you have failed the level. For every crystal that Bob collects, additional time is added to the clock. These levels require that you be quick with your fingers. Let me demonstrate. Next up are the target levels. These are a little different to the levels you have seen so far. You'll notice that Bob is always rotating around a pivot point in these levels. To move the pivot point, you must click on one of the other targets. When you do this, you will see a second yellow sphere appear on the newly selected target. Once Bob rotates to the point where the spheres touch, he will swap over to the new target. An added challenge in these levels is that the more crystals Bob gets, the faster he goes. This first level is pretty simple. Just continue to select the targets in order to progress to the end. Let's take a look at a more complicated level. In this level, Bob can't reach any crystals yet. A combination of targets will be required to solve this one. Let's start with this top left target. When I select this one, you'll see that Bob can collect all of these green crystals and a few of the yellow ones. When I return to the starting target, Bob still can't reach the surrounding crystals. If I go to the rightmost target, I can collect its crystals, but if I send Bob back to the middle, he's still in the same situation. The answer is to go from the rightmost target to the bottommost target and then to the center. This works because when you move between targets which are at different distances, this will alter the radius of Bob's path. Remember, the target spheres must always touch, so the next target you select will only ever be large enough to touch the edge of the current sphere. As you can see, Bob's path now touches the edge of the center target's crystals, so all I need to do now is select it. Lastly, let's take a look at the obstacle levels. These green walls are impassable. If Bob hits them, he will just bounce right off. We will need to be clever with our pivot points to navigate around these levels. You can place a pivot point anywhere on the level, even on a wall. Remember to use the edge of the sphere to work out if Bob will hit one of the walls or not. Let me show you. See here how I've placed a pivot point on the wall to give me a path between the gap so I can get to the outer crystals. Here's a hint. On any level where there is a circle of crystals, such as the yellow ones on this level, you can collect all of those crystals in one go if you can get Bob to any point on the edge of that circle. All you then need to do is place your pivot point in the center of the circle and Bob's path will take him through all of the crystals. That wraps up the gameplay tutorial for Pivot Point. One last thing. If you are completely stuck on a level or just want the option of playing the levels in any order, click on the shopping trolley on the main menu and you can purchase an unlock for all of the levels. If you're feeling extra generous, you also have the option of a small donation. Anyone who donates will receive all future level packs for free. If you really like this game and would like to see more levels added, please leave a good review on the Pivot Point App Store page. Thank you for your interest in Pivot Point. I hope this tutorial has been helpful.